while in the shower, got a really fun um, download song things happening. I'm currently waiting for my husband to finish his shower so that I can just let that song out. But as I'm sitting here, I am seeing the significant on this side of my face, which isn't uncommon. I've had a very, my face is kind of crooked. But last night, before getting into bed, and then even just sort of other things, I had information internally, just internal, the help that I get from guides, different conversations that I have, letting me know that a mini stroke was basically happening in the left side, and I can't unsee what feels like a more significant murk, but I don't know. I need to look at my other videos recently because I've definitely noticed there being a bigger tilt than what I feel like I'm used to. So I'm not sure if I'm just noticing it or not. This is the life of a person who's had significant trauma and is in the process of healing, but also physical ailments abound, right? And especially when it comes to sort of reclamation of the internal headquarters landscape in here, I've had some pretty interesting conversations that have led me to believe that body will just kind of allow for certain targeted things to occur, a little bit like phagocytosis, but in ways that mimic strokes, maybe? Not really sure. Can't afford to go get like an MRI and find out. So, yeah, just kind of observing and noticing that if in fact that is what happened, and there is like could also just be Bell's palsy, could be any number of things, or just could be how my face just is, and I'm only just now noticing it. But yeah, just kind of documenting for the purposes of, was there one? Did that actually happen? Do I have a substantial and significant level of droopy face due to side removals of things in one hemisphere? I mean, used to have DID, and the whole headquarters cleanup has been like an almost 2-year process now. So like those entities left, but their headquarters didn't. We had to clean that shit up, right? There's different circuitry in the body, in like my fucking spinal column, that have been tied to specific regions of my brain being active during certain entities. Last night was a removal of the Tony node, the internal headquarters where Tony existed, the parts of the brain that activated when Tony fronted, or when he was just participating in internal conversations too. Like when we were in it, like when everyone was active and alive, internal conversations, like they light up different parts of the brain, because that's how the whole sense of self thing works in a human brain, right? Different regions light up depending on the collection of memories and physical sorts of just the things that are connected to the parts of your brain that light up, right? You turn the lights on, those that then reanimate or really just wake up. It's kind of it. You're either asleep or you're awake. Same thing for DID, right? So yeah. No song today, not for this. Just sort of an odd observation of, did I really have the stroke that I was told was happening last night? My face would indicate that might be the case. No other physical, been like feeling my body and doing left and right stuff, all morning, being like, am I okay? Was that just some sort of something? I get, my body talks to me, gives me information about what it's doing, because it's the one in charge of my construction project, right? Like, I'm just the face, right? I'm the consciousness who talks. My body is doing its own thing to heal and repair the integration thing. Like, it's a whole process. Like, okay, this is a DID rant, I guess, to the psychology community. Y'all seriously need to fuck off with the whole integration thing. Functional multiplicity is what you should be focusing on. Group therapy is what you should be focusing on. And somatics, because you need to get those internal system people in touch with body-based responses, because some internal parts can basically communicate through body without need for being part of the mental processes necessarily. They can still speak internally. They don't necessarily need to front, but they can be part of helping with different things, right? Like, okay, say you've got somebody who's got an internal part who's got an eating disorder, right? That is so fucking hard to deal with, especially when you have littles in here, because like, and I'm talking more so eating disorder, like binge eating disorder, but also anorexia, but also bulimia. Like, I've been through them all. Like, experienced them all, for real, like whole life. I have so many stories. It is so much easier to basically just do more intentional observations of what happens when you hold or even see, but honestly touching it's making it more sensory is really helpful, to have them as a system every time they're eating a trigger food. And we all know what our trigger foods are, okay? But like, have them even hold a trigger food and then just spend the next, like, however long, 5 minutes, doesn't need to be that long, having an internal conversation about it. Not making decisions, not necessarily shaming, obviously, because, like, they're going to do that, but, like, not shaming, not anything. In fact, let the littles drive, right? Like, if it's a binge food that triggers the eating disorder, like, parts, let the littles drive when it comes to that food. Give them a moment to just, like, feel it, like a kid, like, do it again. Like, do the reintroduction of food again. Have them touch it, have it be as sensory as it can be, and have as many internal conversations as you possibly can while that's happening, and have external conversations with whoever's fronting. And if you switch, then whoever's fronting then. Allow it to be a joyful experience. But for real, you getting body as its own entity in line with mental as our own entities, right? I have been able to bifurcate my entire, like, physical vessel to channel, where I can have one channeled entity in this hand and another one in this hand, and I don't know what they're talking about when they communicate together. I'm not paying attention. I'm in my back seat. My hands are functioning autonomously right now with two different entities. And when I pause and I pay attention to what's happening in, like, my spinal column, which is a big one, which is a big tell, that whole area, I know exactly where at least the one on this side is coming from, because I get an illuminated, like, there's just an electrical push and a little bit of sensory pain in a very specific area. And so I move, and I'm just kind of letting body stretch and do what it wants to do. So that's like, and that was me just having a channeled conversation with, both hands. And it kind of caused a little bit of a right side blockage to be shown. And when I say blockage, I just mean, like, blockage in my spinal column for the fluid that need, and electrical impulses that need to go where they need to go, right? I can feel it because it hurts. Like, there's a little bit of pain there. And if they were right yesterday, and the information I got internally from my body, because I get reports from my body, if that was correct, that there was a level of internal stroke on the left hemisphere, then it makes sense that on my right body today, there's a level of needing to reanimate some things. New connections need to form, because whatever it is that got removed from my left hemisphere, and this is my body entirely moving me right now. I'm just talking to you. Everything below my neck is autonomous, because I clicked into a trans-channel state for my body. I'm doing repair work right now. And you're seeing the just somatic response in the hand that can be available. I do think that the Sometimes you just need to make a chakra out of your hand, right? Like, I don't know. These energetic things just are what they are. There's like historical context for this stuff for human bodies. It's already been calibrated in, and I'm an Akashic record reader, so like I can pull this ancient like, hey, what do you need to do in for my body? My body pulls it in, right? I always think my videos are gonna be one thing and then they turn into something else too. But for real, this is a level of healing that I'm doing while also just trying to talk about DID. Oh, because what you develop internally are walls, right? Fragmentations, intentional dissociation, but you have to still function as a homeostatic being, as a full circuited entity, and you have to do it for however many of you there are in there. I only knew of like a couple dozen, but conversations, no, it numbers to almost 200 of just the fragments. And all of those have required for the integration process to be taken offline and then new, like taken offline brain to cellular structure in the rest of the body, and then new highways, new energetic highways need to be reestablished and connected in, because it's not like my brain is eating itself. I don't have an amoeba, to my knowledge. I don't have Alzheimer's, to my knowledge. Nope. Okay. I always check in because, you know, when you have a lot of like things that have historically not been something you've done, physical things happening, and you don't have the physical, tangible social support going on, you question a lot of things that you're doing in your life. But I can tell you that right now I feel in underneath that right shoulder blade down, more targeted toward, not targeted, but more like in the spinal column area, there is, you could say it's a sensation of pain, but the translation that I get when I'm like, hey, what's going on, is construction workers with like the that chunks up the concrete, right? You get images of being in like Manhattan or something, and there's all this traffic, there's all these people, there's all this whatever, but there's still also construction going on too. Yeah, that's my body. That's all over our bodies right now. But especially with this, there's just a need for circuitry reconnection. So I feel like the next time I do get to a doctor that can give me some sort of brain scan, there's probably going to be like oh yeah, look at that, you've had a mini stroke. Okay. That'll validate this. So cool. I believe today's Randy, what's today's 22nd?
Today is the 22nd.
Today is November 22nd, 2025. Okay, cool. Which means that November 21st, 2025, or sometime while I was asleep, because I didn't feel anything. I was sort of told like it's happening now, but like I've been told weird things before. Guides tell you stuff that you need to hear for your highest good. I'm in like, yeah, sure. Highest good is fine. Like mode, I don't really question things at this point. If I'm just watching TV or something and I get a little like, hey, by the way, it's happening, like don't worry, you're not gonna feel anything, and we're blah blah blah, just pay attention to what you're doing. I'm like, okay. Thank you. Thank you for the update. That's all. Like I get body-based updates. I've joked before, but for real, it's like Osmosis Jones in here. Like that was such a good detailed, like, yeah, kind of. In a lot of ways, that's kind of what goes on inside of that whole system there. And my legs are getting involved now. That's why you see me moving, because it may have started like just below heart sort of area, but it moves down. I've had similar feelings of like chakra openings and different things like that. That's not really what this feels like. It doesn't feel like a chakra opening. It really truly does feel like spinal column led central nervous system reactivations of receiver cells, because cells are always receivers and transmitters, but cells that literally had to go boop offline for the things that needed to be taken offline internally, which will then be recycled out because it's not needed anymore. And with it will go trauma memories. Like I can, I guess, still probably access things like general memories, but the the more the reactive behavioral responses that come from those still being online, even though there's not an operator there anymore, basically. That's just what patterns are, right? Like brain and body do create patterns that then you do, they kind of set up little like mini, I call them like sidecars, because they're not, you know, think Inside Out, like the headquarters. It's kind of just like a little pocket like treehouse that something can go into and like, you know, work from the side without necessarily interrupting and interfering with the main headquarters, sort of. But those aren't like necessarily manned once your brain and body sort of establish a pattern. It's easiest to see this if you have like an ADHD brain, which I do, and an autism brain, which I do, because you can just, it's sort of a set it and forget it system that humans have evolved to have. And it's kind of necessary because it's some behavioral and like intake things you don't necessarily want your whole self there for. A lot of us get checked out, right? Like you scroll through a bunch of things on your For You page and then you don't remember any of it. Yeah, that's because it was a pattern that was scrolling it. It wasn't really you. At least not your, you know, full conscious present self. You're kind of just trying to distract and take a moment. take a screen-based cigarette, if you will, you know? All right, I'm just going to keep talking through this because it is a big energetic, like, there's just a lot. There's a lot of big energetic stuff that is still kind of moving through my whole central nervous system. And I'm just asking now, I'm just like, how did this get activated? And they're like, the singing. Like your singing is transmissions that you channel through, so they are healing inherently, and they're like, you didn't get that from us. The whole like it's for the reader first. Like it wasn't from me, that's from them, right? My guides, Gaia. Because anyone doing a transmission on YouTube especially, but if you're watching a channeler who's doing a transmission, you know, if you go hunting for like a bunch, then yeah, okay. But if you really are just paying attention to the synchronicities of what the algorithm throws at you and what someone is saying that is kind of aligned for you, it means that you are in the same level of heart-centered coherence and like same trajectory on the day that you watch it. You might not stay there because we're literally all just doing this right now and all over the place. Every single day is so different. And when you let your body be in charge of taking care of things, yeah, again, it's always been a little droopy. So that was all I asked, actually, last night when I was told, like, hey, mini stroke incoming. Was like, am I going to lose, like, functionality in my face? That's apparently all I cared about. And body, right? I was like, am I going to lose functionality? And they were like, no. We're doing basically a targeted off and on. We've done it before, just not at this level. The last time they did it was when I concussed myself, apparently. Yeah, well, that was in June or July, beginning of July. Oh, and last November, because I did fall. Yeah. Okay, well, that's not great. It has not been... You know, you have to pay the neurodivergence tax in life anyway. Why would it be different during a spiritual awakening? You know, why would it be different? Why would it be different? It's a neurodivergence tax. The neurodivergence tax is like, okay, so like an ADHD tax, to be a functional adult, you might need to budget in a cleaner, like a house cleaner, to feel okay. Because otherwise shit's gonna fucking pile up and you're not gonna see it. You're not gonna see it until it's like way disgusting and now you have a full job. Whereas, you know, if you can get yourself working enough to afford someone to come in, that person will be your savior, right? That's a neurodivergence tax though. It's a luxury, but like, you know, but that's in my, like, once we can afford it, would love to hire kind of dream stuff. But taxes like that, like, it's just life taxes on things. The neurodivergent tax, you you have to mask all the time. You have to probably work, you probably do have to work way harder on things, just because of how not for you, like, a workplace is. Yeah, it's no. Yeah, not like, you must be the exact same level of social and capable at exactly this time every single day for blah 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 blah. That's not particularly culturally competent for neurodivergent folks. The more corporate something is, the less neurodivergently competent that place is, for sure. Based on what I've seen, which is not every corporation, obviously. Just what I see. Okay. I'm sort of finishing this. It's currently on my left side, though, not my right side, which I find curious, because it means that below that sort of sacral line, that sort of belly button things, which I've definitely noticed that I have, like, a top bottom kind of thing that goes on with the circuitry, because circuitry can just, like, it's not necessarily this controls entire right side. No. Below spinal column itself can actually switch. I do believe my body might do that, just based on my own observations. Which again makes sense. My brain created not just one headquarters, hundreds of them. And especially once you start running out of space, because there's already highways, you just start diverting things. And then once the brain starts cleaning up those headquarters, it's like, what if we kept the diversion routes instead of what was, like, originally here? Body can do that. Takes time. Gets actually sped up by viral infections, if you can believe it, because your body kind of, while it's fighting all that shit, is sort of using the fact that that viral things sort of target things on, like, a DNA level, and they're like, excellent, we will use this. As long as it doesn't kill us, we will use it. Okay, now I'm on the right side. Got it. We were connecting in whole circuitry. Cool. Seriously, going through healing stuff and, like, having answers from guides is really helpful. Like, if you're going through healing and you're tapping into your spiritual side, that's the skills that you have for the allowing of the healing, the physical healing, the somatic stuff. Yeah, it's a boon. It's been very, very helpful, very mentally and emotionally reassuring, and I get to watch my body do, like, yoga. I'm not consciously doing it. My body just is. So it's cool. All right. Well, I hope this was educational. It's not what I thought I was going to be doing when I sat down to hit record. I had a song that wanted to come out. So it's fine. To feel bamboozled by your own guides on the things that you're recording is like, y'all could have just told me to sit down and, like, do the thing, and they're like, no, we couldn't have. You needed to stay in a very specific level of and the moment that we would tell you, hey, that thing we told you about last night, it happened, we're gonna reconnect some things now, so sit down, I'd have gotten mental with it, and I'd have been like, okay, let's go. Wrong energy. It's fine. It's cool. I hope that, however your spiritual awakening is going, or your healing and integration work is going, you are being gentle with yourself and allowing body to take over when it needs to. And whatever you observe in your physicality along the way, You're still here, you know, discovering new things about how your mind and body are interacting with itself and how you're interacting with everything else. Because I can't see those who talk to me, but I can see my body. My toes on both sides are both curled over like this in sort of a final, like, it's cool. I'm gonna end this after I actually like get the signal clear. We simply would like to provide one message, one of hope. You received this transmission to your screen because it is relevant for you to know and to take in. It is not a guarantee of what you will be experiencing yourself. However, healing in this way is a natural, modern biological process. Full allowing, removal of ego is required to be able to experience rapid healing in this modality. Somatic integration repair work. Huh. Okay. Many are doing this in practices already. Few are documenting in real time. It's why we ask for Charlie to do it. Guinea pig. Who just does song transmissions on our light language channel until there's something to show about what's going on with the healing and the DID. Ooh. Sorry, I've got like feet are like more in, and then there's just like more pain. I mean, like, it doesn't hurt that bad. It's just, there's just the pain of stretching a ton. And also that foot on the left, I broke my toe last year during the last trans-channel state, which, whew, I am like deep in the trauma dates for that today. Like, yeah, but broke my toe because got hurt being unstable on that one, like physically just not, okay, there we go. All right, so cramping, it was cramping pain, basically. Sorry, I'm just looking at my toes here. I'm like, are we good? Everybody good? We done? Okay, I'm being asked to simply sit and allow, okay. I'm gonna keep talking. You don't need to stay if you don't want to, but thank you for hanging around. The first time that I experienced this was last October. Well, not totally this. It was, if you've seen that polar bear video where the, like a research team, you know, sedates a polar bear, but like it's still conscious and awake. And so it has a complete fight or flight or freeze response, right? Like it just seizes up. And when they release it and they kind of just like, basically the whole thing, the whole mammal shakes, right? Like intense shaking, whole body. Because that was it releasing that response. That was the central nervous system saying, okay, goodbye. I did not know that people could get there because we do mentally block a lot of things. And we were just hanging out, just watching something, and then I started doing full body, like light language movements and stuff, which I absolutely do to just clear and move stuff. And then I sat down on the floor, and my entire body started convulsing. And the moment it did, Randy freaked out, and I was like, nope, it's like the polar bear video. I'll show it to you when we're done. And sorry, husband finishing his stuff and going down to get himself some food. Trying to be polite and not interrupt the scientific documentation, I guess, that's happening right now. But that was the first time I'd experienced sort of a full body, like, central nervous system is actually releasing. And when I was done, I basically just knew that they like my body guides helping, whatever. I knew that Gunn was out of my system. Like the remnants of his name was Gunn. He was the suicidal part that we had since like age 3, because he held like the worst shit. Like, seriously, Gunn was where the initial sexual assaults like memories were. Gunn held everything bad. That's why he was suicidal. Like, he held all the bad stuff. It was like, there's nothing good in this world. And it's like, from your perspective, that makes sense. Like, right? Like, yeah. And he had been gone, but the remnants, right? Like the pattern of repetition of thoughts and behaviors and just all of it was still there. There wasn't a shift in sense of self, and there were no internal conversations, and there were no, like, there just wasn't. It wasn't there. Because the integration process on an entity self capable of fronting and capable of even just having an internal conversation, they were all gone as of last April. During when, body went offline, and when body went offline, everybody else had to go too. They hit their exit point, right? I did come back. I went and I came back. I didn't just stay the whole time. So yeah, my body's been through a lot. And that was just the last couple of years. Like, have you heard of the adverse childhood experiences scale? I score a 10, okay? 10 out of 10. Anything above a 4 is like consistent with like horrible health outcomes and early death. And that's not even talking about the social, like, emotional side of your life, right? That's just physical health, which obviously is impacted by everything else. But yeah, after you go through any sort of I guess central nervous system reattaching and coming back online for the good of overall brain and body health, right? Because Tony was who got taken offline, and Tony was a protector part, very rarely fronted ever. He was actually so the earlier parts get created. Sometimes kid brain just kind of makes them whatever, right? And Tony was sometimes a dog, but sometimes a werewolf, basically. That was Tony. Only ever fronted with, like, friends one time, really and truly. And it was because she was being a bitch. Like, she was being a bitch, and she was being flippant with our health, and honestly just being wrong, according to us. Like, and it was during COVID, like, and he wasn't even that mean. He just got loud and went, "Yes, you do!" When she was like, "You don't have to wear a mask with blah, blah, blah." I'm like, yeah. And just kept, like, picking after being a bitch for like an hour. It was she's just one of those people. Tony wanted her out of our life anyway. And it worked. That's the hard part of DID. One comment from one of us in here to somebody, and she just didn't talk to us again. So yeah, not the best at picking people to be friends with, right? That's why I've turned to parasocial relationships. I very much like you, because you want to be here. You want to hear about all the stuff that's going on with me. You keep coming back. You keep opening my videos, and you're allowing me an opportunity to share my life with you. I really appreciate that. I feel you. I don't know your name, and I'm not going to ask, because that's like a weird, like, Akashic overreach. People can do it. I just I asked for names. I got Michelle and Melissa. Okay. Hi. Those apparently wanted to come through. But I'm just going to talk about, because my body's still doing some just general and gentle yoga poses right now. Because those do truly open just different parts of the body to receiving and transmitting things that I can't see with my eyes, right? Like, yeah. we will be able to like visualize some of this stuff at some point in the probably not that distant future. Because it really is like it's a little bit like germ theory, right? First time they were like, there are these invisible things on your hands, and hey, doctors, maybe, you know, in between dealing with an autopsy and delivering a baby, just wash your fucking hands with soap. Yeah, doctors were up in arms. How dare you call me dirty? The blood on my outfit or on my apron is a sign that I'm a good doctor. In my experience, doctors have not changed much. No offense to all doctors that I am talking to right now, but given my personal experience with doctors here in the last 2 years, I'm not a fan. Like, I'm not a fan, okay? Doctors are not open to things that they have not been beaten into having to learn and be masterful at. And they're not mentally flexible. They're very rigid. Not a fan. Not a fan. Like, I get it, but y'all need to just come make peace with the fact that med school was traumatizing and like work on your shit, okay? You need to listen to your bodies. You're not listening. No, doctors don't listen to their bodies. Why would they? Their bodies would tell them that they're wrong about something. They don't listen. Okay, I'll put that rant down. I won't pick up that rant right now. Yeah, I got up, did my like morning routine, took care of my dogs, and then I came back upstairs because we were gonna do something and we were gonna be responsible. Today, we're gonna be responsible and do yard work because there's leaves in the backyard and they need taken care of. And I woke up and there was rain, and I was like, "Thank you, Gaia." But also, damn it, I was gonna do physical stuff today. But now that I know that this is what my body's doing, hell no, gentle day, gentle movement day. I just went through possibly an internal mini stroke, which, given the level of like healing stuff that I'm doing right now, obviously I'm not a doctor. I'm pretty confident that you can see those kinds of things on scans if I eventually get one at the right time. Can I get one? I would love to see what my brain looks like. I got a we can provide you with that, but like, you know, you put like mental personal requests out into the universe and you're like, but also I hate hospitals. So like, I don't know that I want to do that. Anybody at like a zoo want to scan my brain? I'll go into a zoo MRI happily. Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I do think that I have an interesting brain and lived experience with DID and integration, even without the spiritual aspect of it. And I genuinely do think that there would be things in my brain that are potentially interesting and of note for academics who are studying this stuff. Yeah, I'm just currently giving I'm in like is this a lotus position? My feet are together and they are as close to my heels are as close to my body as I can comfortably get them. I'm not very flexible these days. I'm not currently doing like a yoga practice. That kind of stuff is clearly like in my future. I can feel it. It's coming. And my hands, I have them in, yeah, like that. And I'm just sort of rubbing around my knees in, well, like that. Words are hard, all right? Because everything that did just flow through to turn on central nervous system circuitry, that's a big deal. That's a lot of movement, and big releases also, same, big deal. Like, you really want to, if you experience something like this, if you experience sort of a pain and then like spontaneous yoga, if you experience that, it very well could mean that you are in the process of reconnecting some circuitry. And that's why you're watching this video, is sort of a how to stay calm when your body is freaking you the fuck out, right? Like, sure, go get things checked, you know? If you do have like this intense fear of doctors, honestly, like, that might be a challenge zone for you. See if you can just find one. See if you can ask the universe to help you find a doctor so you can get over your fear of doctors. I'm not a scared. I'm not afraid of doctors. I just still actively I'm not interested, right? There's just a very like, nah, I'm good. No thanks. Because I also have been to a doctor. I get my blood checked every year. I go to the doctor and get my shit done. And if you've not been going to one to even just have information on what's going on that we know about, go do that. Go do it. Make it a challenge to find a decent one, because there are, obviously. Not like, don't make anything a monolith, right? Especially when fear's involved. Plus, if you have a bad experience, then you can complain about it, and that's always fun. Yeah. Complaining is one of the great joys of being a human. Angels don't complain. You think you complain when you're on the other side? Come on. You don't. You're too full of capacity to understand. Enjoy the fact that you're kind of a stupid human for a while. Like, go do the things you're scared of so that you can complain about it later. Seriously. Yeah. Super fun. Super fun. All right. How are we doing, everybody? I got like a body is good. Randy is triggered. Yeah. Oh. Okay. All right. And so, because there was a full central nervous system, energetic reactivation of things, today is definitely a day that I need to go be walking around quite a bit. And because it's raining, that means antique stores. Heck yeah. Drive a little bit to rest, and then you go walk around and look at stuff and touch stuff. Drive a little bit and rest, then go look around. And that's also a really fun way to just, we just like looking at stuff. Look at the stuff. Humans are neat. My house is full, but my collection's not complete. I'm basically a museum curator. I just have lots of things. And I am singing because it's good. Helpful for vagal nerve activation. Doesn't need to be original. Just make it what you know. 'Cause you want to walk, then maybe you'll run. Even if there is no sun. Take just a beat. See how life is sweet. And go out in your world. Okay, I heard it. I could have gone for it, but like, I'm not in the mood. Like, so I'm talking to just guides because they were like, what? You could have like... Okay. Just because it is helpful for you, I am going to do something silly. I am going to find the depth within me. I encourage you to do something for you. Because you got this transmission, that's true. You manifested it in. Or asked for help in some way. I'm not necessarily going to be good at all the singing. Is that good? Is that fine? Is everybody fine with that? All right. Okay. I am literally going to go now. Thank you so much for watching. I don't know what this life is. I don't know what your life is, but you're going to be great. So, all right. Bye. Love you.